had a great weekend. My timing was impeccable, beyond impeccable for getting off of Twitter. Nuked my Twitter
didn't realize that.
About 10
you
minutes.
Haven't been on Twitter, huh?
About 10 minutes after the show ended, was at a stoplight on Miramar after leaving, and I go, "That's it, I'm done." And I explained why in the 8:00 hour. I have heard through the grapevine that there are many theories floating around as to why I deleted Twitter. And I told the story at 8 a.m. on Friday, if you want to go back and listen. But it for me, honestly, there's a few different reasons. And the main one was that I snapped at my kid on Thursday. I snapped at him. Why? Because I'm arguing with a guy with a lemon emoji who has 12 followers about baseball and whether or not Bob Melvin is the right man for the job. And my son said to me, "Dad, how do I do my belt for his T-ball uniform?" I go, "Bo, give me a minute." And I snapped at him and I go, "Did I just snap at my kid from arguing with a stranger on Twitter that I don't know?" And the answer was yes, I did. And I felt like a massive piece of S after I did it. Then I started to think about, well, I would get up at 4:30 in the morning. And the first thing I would do, guess what? Check Twitter. Then I would go to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Guess what the last thing I did? Check Twitter. Guess what I did from 4:30 to 9:30 all day, every day? And I mean including dinner. I'm eating a meal. I've got Bo to my left, Taylor to my right, Hannah across the table, and I'm on my phone. Guess what I'm doing? I'm on Twitter. And that went on for at least the 5 years that we've been a show. 14 to 15 hours a day, more on weekends. On Twitter. Do you know how much money I made off of Twitter in that time? $0.00. I am working a separate 15-hour-a-day job for $0. It makes me a horrible person.
What about the free publicity that we're getting for the show?
I'm good.
Oh, okay.
I'm absolutely good. We've got a show account that people are entitled to or more than welcome to go comment on. I won't be reading that. I'm done. It made me not a good person. If I was sitting around eating cheesecake for 15 hours a day, sure would taste good, but it's not good for me, man. It's not. The other reason is when I'm in a creative rut, who do I always go back to? I always go back to Howard, always. And it just so happened I listened to, on Thursday, a bit he did with one of his guys who got engaged over the weekend. And he tweeted, "I'm engaged." So Howard comes in, he goes, "I was happy for you for a second, for 1 second. And then I realized, dummy, you've got the Howard Stern Show as your platform. How much money do you make from Twitter?" And he's like, "Zero." And he's like, "Zero. You make $0 from Twitter. This is people think it's my show. It's your show.
You wouldn't have
your
followers
anything if it wasn't for this
show." So
I thought to myself, bro, I'm wasting 95% of my good stuff on Twitter every single night. If you are out there and you're listening and you don't like me and you think you ran me off Twitter, you didn't. I ran myself off Twitter. I'm not a good person on it. That was the other part. I don't like who I became on Twitter. If I offended you, I'm sorry. I don't like who I became on Twitter. The gotcha guy, I don't want to be a gotcha guy. I just want to root for this team, report on it, have a good time with my friends. That's what I want to do. If I was a dick to you on Twitter, I apologize. It made me a bad person. It made me a guy I didn't want to be around. But most importantly, it made me a crappy dad and it made me a crappy husband. And in turn, made me a crappy radio host. So when I put it down and I nuked it, I went home. My wife was at the spa for Mother's Day. My kids were in school. I walked into a dark, cold, empty house. I deleted the app from my phone, deleted it from my computer. And I walked around my house and I took a deep breath and I went, all right, you got the whole house. She said, "Now, normally a Friday afternoon, Benny, I go to the room, do my business, maybe grab a nap, have some lunch. And then I'm on Twitter until the game starts. I'm on Twitter the entire game. I listened to a 3-hour podcast about a favorite musical artist of mine. I played 2 hours of guitar. I took a nap. I read a book. The best effing day I've had in years.
Good for you.
And it was amazing.
Good for you.
Then the game happened Friday night. Yeah, I was pissed about the game. but it was over in 15 minutes. You know why? Because we had another one tomorrow. Same thing. Rinse and repeat the whole weekend. I was pissed about every game. I was livid. Hannah was yelling at me for yelling at the TV, calling Max Muncy names. But I didn't get into the weeds. I didn't ignore anybody after that. I still got the kids washed and bathed and cuddled and read a book and watched a movie. Like, I played lacrosse with my son in the street. We hit off the tee yesterday after the game. Like, all the things that I literally wasn't doing because I was sitting on my phone acting like a jerk off every single day for 14 to 15 hours a day.
Now, I use Twitter differently than you use.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time on there, no doubt about it. I'm not gonna argue that I don't. But when I scroll, I'm kind of looking for the news, like what has just happened, to keep me updated, so I know what's going on, and I add that to my my show data. Like, AJ
Sure.
Castell just tweeted something.
I've missed some stuff. There's no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. When Woods tweets something, oh, look who's here in the game. Yeah, we knew that 7 hours ago. Woods, well, you're not on Twitter, and I feel like I miss that if I'm not scrolling. Now, I'll occasionally like some clever tweets, and I'll retweet some stuff, and even occasionally respond. But I would say 98% of people who tweet at me, they go unresponded to. If you're trying to tweet at me to get a conversation going, that's probably not going to happen. That was more Woods's avenue in terms of the personal interaction. So I'm sorry to the people that aren't getting the rise out of me and aren't getting the interaction with me, but that's not how I use Twitter.
That's how I used Twitter, and it was not healthy. It just wasn't healthy for me, man. And there were things in my life that I was addicted to. Certainly, you can leave those things at my house now, and I wouldn't touch them. Like, I used to drink a lot. I used to drink a lot. I got bottles of whiskey and bottles of vodka and bottles of rum that people have given me, or that I haven't bought a bottle of liquor, Ben, and I can't tell you how long, but I get them as gifts. They sit in the drawer. Why? Because it's not good for me. Every now and then, I'll let like this coming Saturday night, I'm going to see The Cure with our buddy Corey. I'm going to rage. I'm going to have the best time of my life. It's one of my favorite bands, probably the last time I'll ever see him. I'm going nuts on Saturday, right? But it's not something that I do all the time. I have willpower in all those other areas. This is not something I had any willpower. None. I was a constant need for attention, constant need for validation. Our buddy Mike wrote me last night. He goes, I don't get it, man. Why'd you bang Twitter and you kept Instagram? And I said, it's really easy. When I die, when I'm dead and I'm off this planet, my kids can go back through my Instagram like it's a scrapbook. All these memories that we've created. If you go look at my Twitter, not a lot of baseball takes on there. It's my family, or my Instagram. It's my family. That's what my Instagram is. Some couple funny memes, but it's my family, because when I'm dead and gone, Bo can sit down, Taylor can sit down and go, okay, this is the day I was born. What did my dad say? What song did he put on here? That, to me, is rad. I would love to have that. All we have in my house are old picture books, going through the pictures and like, yeah, I remember this time we went to Disneyland in 1985. This is a digital scrapbook that I'm essentially curating for my children. So that's why I kept that on there. As far as Twitter goes, man, it was robbing me of my day and robbing me of being a dad and a good dad. And that's something I take very seriously. So, hey, if you want to beat your chest and think that you ran me off, okay, fine. I'm not a good person on there, and I want to be a better guy, and I want to be a better friend and everything else. So I don't need it. I'm going to do this job without it.
I think that was incredibly well said. In fact, that's the kind of radio segment that I feel people around the country should be writing about this morning. Like, here's what, look at this. Listen to what this San Diego radio host said about Twitter and being on social media, and what can we all learn from what he discovered this past weekend after he got off of Twitter.
It's just like, and again, it's not that I don't get mad and passionate. I'm still so passionate about this team, and I love this team, and it's breaking my heart to watch them. And I lost my cool. Did I lose my cool this weekend? Don't picture me as like sitting shirtless, Mr. Zen Master. Now I'm not. I'm still like calling Max Muncy every name in the book yesterday. Like, I'm still screaming at the television. My wife scolded me no less than 20 times this weekend for foul language around the kids while I'm watching the game. I'll work on it. I'm working on it. But even Bo goes, Mom, it's the Dodgers. Just like even Bo gets it. So I'm still so passionate about it. And I'm still so passionate about this job. I hope you guys don't think, oh, Woods is out off of Twitter. He's throwing in the towel. Twitter isn't. I realize I'm lucky. I've got a 4-hour platform where I can give my opinions and I get paid to do it. I was giving it away for free on Twitter, 15 hours a day. It just didn't make any sense.